new change room for the lads.
A role at a club like this, but maybe in a few years.
What I need from you is 6 RDLs on here. Yeah. Chaps.
Yes, stand right shoulder, right shoulder.
Oh my god, I've cheeked it. When you pick up, I need to try that. Oh, it's short. Where's he going? Joshy? Good lad. Joshy. Go on, Anis. Go on, Anis. Go on, Anis. No, you can't get that. Yeah, so show a bit of an angle, that's it. Move feet, well done. Finish up! Oh, yeah.
right, my amigos, question time. Before I get into the Q&A, I just want to let you guys know that the private Facebook group is now up and running and ready for you guys to join. The main reasons that I set that up was because I get so many questions about gym, training drills, how I recover. A lot of you guys lately have been asking for training schedules as well. So I thought, let me set this up. It's just a much easier way to get back to you guys more quickly and give you better answers, more of an insight, give you guys more information in my answers, because it's very hard, you know, via YouTube to reply to each and every one of you in depth. So I think it will be a really good way to help us communicate, create a big community for anyone who's an aspiring footballer or just wants to improve at football, and hopefully I can help as many of you guys become professionals as possible. On top of that, I'll be giving you guys daily updates on what I'm doing every day, what I'm working on that day, how I'm training, what gym sessions I'm doing, etc, etc. Also, I'm going to be doing Zoom calls a couple of times a month that will only be for people in the Facebook group. And like I said, overall the group is really there just to help you guys improve as footballers and increase your chances of making it pro. So yeah, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below which will take you straight to the private Facebook group. There'll be a couple of questions that you've got to answer before you join. That will just give me an insight into who's actually joining the group and where you are at right now in your football career. Yeah, then you'll be accepted. Let's get into the Q&A and let's get these questions answered. So, the first question is from, and by the way guys, there are some questions that are similar to each other. So what I'll do is I'll put those similar questions together and I'll still answer them. All right, so first question then, and it's from Gunnerboy169. He asked, why do so few make it as a pro footballer despite being very talented? And this is a great question to kick this Q&A off. So I've played with so many players back in the day who were incredibly talented, more talented than me. So many people would wonder why did these players not make it? Like, why have so many of them fallen out of the game? And look, I'm going to get straight to it. What it comes down to is mindset. They did not have the mindset required in order to make it as a professional footballer. They weren't willing to sacrifice the things that many professional footballers did sacrifice. They weren't disciplined enough with things like nutrition, their routine. They weren't willing to put in the hard work. They weren't dedicated enough. And all these things, they add up, and you inevitably find yourself falling behind even though you are incredibly talented, because it may be a little bit cliche, but it's very true that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I've seen it firsthand with so many incredibly talented young players. So that's the main reason. They weren't able to adopt an elite mindset young enough and quick enough. And when you're age 17, 18, that's a crucial time in your career. You need to make sure that you're separating yourself from the rest of your teammates. You have to go home every night, look in the mirror and say, yeah, look, I'm the hardest working in my team. And that will put you in good stead. All right, next question then. Dylan Will, he asks, tips for strikers, things that you as a centre half struggle to deal with from forwards. And we've also got Will Mack, who asks a similar question. As a defender yourself, what are things that strikers do that annoy you the most? Hardest things to defend against, etc. So every centre half is different. I know centre backs that will embrace the physical challenge. I know centre halves who will hate playing against pace. They'll fear playing against strikers with good movement, ones that are great in the air. But for me, I can only speak for myself, and for me, being a 6'5" centre half, I embrace the physical challenge. I love centre forwards that want to come and fight me all game, let me feel them. You know, we'll have 12 or 13 duels throughout the game, because I feel like I'll always get the better of them sort of strikers. You know, I feel like I'm physically imposing enough and I'm smart enough to outwit them. So that's what I like. I like having to do a lot in games. What I hate playing against is clever, smart strikers that, you know, find little pockets. They try and suck you out of your comfort zones. You know, the ones that are able to find little areas in front of you where they're just trying to tease you out of your comfort zone by saying, look, come on, you know you have to come tight with me here. And then you end up going tight, and there's a third man runner in behind who ends up scoring. And yeah, they're the annoying strikers, and that's what I hate playing against. They don't get involved much throughout the game. They only come alive when they're likely to score or likely to do some damage to our team. And you don't really do much throughout the game. You end up playing 90 minutes and you think like, I've not had any headers here, I've not had any defensive duels, I've not won many challenges, because I want to showcase my capabilities to people that are watching in the stands. Yeah, they're the worst ones, the ones who don't do anything throughout the game. They don't want the battle, and then they end up popping up in the 80th minute and scoring. Honestly, centre-half's nightmare. So great question, mate. Let's go on to the next one. Next question, LFP10. He asks, what do you think separates a Premier League player to a Championship player? And also, Serge Ndongala asks, what's the difference between a Prem player to a Championship player? All right, I've touched on this before. The biggest difference between a Premier League player and a Championship player, or even a League One player, League Two player, etc., is the decision making and then the technique to execute that decision. So what do I mean by that? You're playing a game, and when you get the ball at your feet, for example, you will have so many different decisions to make. The best players, they pick out the right decision. The even better players are able to execute that decision that they've made with really good technique. So you look at the likes of De Bruyne's, Neymar's, Messi's, etc. Your best of the best. When De Bruyne, for example, picks up a ball at the edge of the box, the decisions he has to make are, I could pass it here to Mahrez, I could have a shot, I could turn back out and keep possession for my team. He, 9 times out of 10, will pick out the right decision. He makes the decision then to have a shot. The technique he has when he shoots will be greater than most, well, probably all of the players in the Championship. And that's what separates someone who's playing in the Premier League from the Championship. They'll just make better decisions and then have better technique when it comes to executing that decision. All right, so next question. Luca Conzadori asks, what is the plus that Whoop can offer to football players? Also, Joe, he asks, why do you like Whoop so much? How does it benefit a footballer? So obviously, I wear my Whoop 24/7. I've had it for 2 years now, and it's been an absolute game changer for me. Let me tell you why. I wish something like this came out 12 years ago, by the way, when I was 17, 18. I would have learned so much more about myself early on. In order for you guys or anyone who plays sport to perform optimally, you need to make sure that you've recovered optimally to give yourself the best chance in performance the next day. And what Whoop does is it tracks and monitors all your training. It then monitors your sleep that night, and when you wake up in the morning, you get a recovery score. That recovery score is based upon a few metrics that Whoop calculates: your resting heart rate, the quality of your sleep, and how high your HRV is. HRV is the biggest contributing factor when it comes to recovery. And what Whoop does is it teaches you how to improve your HRV. So when you wake up in the morning, you'll have a journal which you can customize to your liking. So my journal, there'll be questions like, how much water did you drink yesterday? Did you have dairy? What time was your last meal? How long did you spend on your phone in bed? Did you have a magnesium supplement? You know, I have about 12 to 15 different things that I like to answer to try and learn about myself. So at the end of every month, you will then get a monthly performance assessment, which will tell you things like, Ryan, when you ate dairy, your HRV was 10% lower than when you didn't eat dairy. When you drank more than 3 liters of water, your HRV was 8% higher, or whatever it may be. When you had a magnesium supplement, your sleep quality was this, your HRV was this, and you'll start to learn so much about your body. And I've learned things that I would never ever have known about myself. Things like I recover best when I have my last meal no later than 7 p.m. because I give my digestive system a time to rest. If I eat dairy, yeah, it's not good for me. My body doesn't like dairy. My HRV is lower. And you'll basically learn so many different ways to improve your HRV and recover optimally for the next day. So after I get these recovery scores, I then know that day whether I'm primed to train really hard, push my body to new limits, or to rein it in a little bit because I've not recovered so well and my body is telling me I need to take time here to recover and rest properly and go again the following day. And what is crazy about this app, right, is last season, I cannot remember a time that my recovery was in the red zone. I think the red zone is, you're like you're 0% to 20% recovered. Green, if you're basically, you want to try and be in the green. And if you're in the green, it means you're, I think, over 70% recovered. The one time I was in the red zone last year, I ended up pulling my hamstring that day. Scary, isn't it? So that's why Whoop is such a good training tool. It teaches you so much about yourself. You'll start to learn things like I've just said, what sort of foods you should have, what time you should go to sleep at, when you should have your last meal, what supplements you should take. And all these things combined, if you start implementing them into your daily routines, you're going to give yourself the best chance in recovery and ultimately the best chance in performing well. So that is why Whoop is such a good training tool for any sportsman out there. If you guys are interested in buying Whoop, for anyone who does take training seriously, I'm going to leave a link down in the description below. I'll give you guys the first month free on me. And what I'll do is I'll set up a YouTube community group on Whoop where we're all in one big group together and we're all tracking each other's progress, monitoring how well everyone slept, competing with each other to get the best resting heart rate, HRV, sleep scores and recovery scores. And yeah, it will just push us into becoming better athletes basically. All right, next question then is from On Point Mister, and he asks, how can an athlete improve stamina dramatically? And Jovan Rakovic asks, can you tell me what a good exercise is for fitness and endurance that I can endure 90 minutes at a good pace? So I answered this question in my last video. If any of you guys missed it, check out the answer in that video, episode 7 of my off-season series. If you guys want to see me doing the actual sessions, go over to off-season episode 3 where I do 10 400 meters. That's more of an anaerobic session. Check out off-season episode 4 for a more aerobic session, and also off-season episode 4, I believe the second half of that session, I do a fartlek training session. So I hope that helps you out, Jovan, mate. Okay, Michael O'Regan asks, Ryan, love your channel, mate. I'm 19, chasing a pro contract, being at a whole lot of clubs and currently playing in non-league. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of top players started out in non-league. As someone that made it to a high level in football, what would be your biggest bit of advice for a young aspiring footballer? I could sit here and answer this for about half an hour, but I don't want to bore you guys, and I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet as possible. So firstly, you need to be the hardest working in the room. If you are not working harder than all of your teammates, you're unlikely to make it. Secondly, and probably the most important thing, is believe in yourself. If you don't have that belief that you're going to make it to whatever level you're hoping to get to, you are not going to. Belief in football is one of the biggest things. I didn't really understand it when I was 18, 19. I would see all these top athletes, Mayweather, Ronaldo's, Michael Phelps, Kobe Bryant's. When they were asked, how do you get to the top? They just said hard work and belief. And I used to think, belief, what does that even mean? But I quickly learned the power of belief, and people often become what they believe that they will be. If you don't believe you can do something, you can't do it. That's the way it works. If you believe that you are going to be or you will achieve something, you will acquire the skills required, the ability to do it, even if you didn't have it in the beginning. In order for us to achieve our goals or our highest aspirations, it depends on two things: belief and action. Belief is the foundation. It shapes our thoughts, which determines the actions that lead us to the final outcome. Having that belief in yourself is so powerful. When you go through hard times and you've got to overcome obstacles, or you get yourself into situations where you can't see any light at the end of the tunnel, that belief will sustain your vision, and nothing will be too big or impossible for you to overcome. So I hope that answers your question, mate. A little bit deep there, but it's just something, if you can get instilled into your mindset from early on, it can really be a powerful tool and help you get to the top a lot quicker than other people. All right, next question then. Luke Aurelio, what does your weekly schedule look like this off-season? Runs, football sessions, weights, etc. Benjamin Deason, Harshit, Parp, AA football, J&M football, and also Greg. Can you tell us what your regular weekly schedule when you're in a season is like? When and how long you train, work out, and rest, etc. So this depends on how many games we have in a week. If we are playing Saturday, no game on a Tuesday, Saturday again, I will play on a Saturday, rest on a Sunday, just focus on recovery, a 20-minute bike ride, some foam rolling, a yoga session, jump on the Normatex, eat well, have a rest day, may do an upper body session, may not, depends on how fatigued I am and what my Whoop is saying for that day. Monday, get back on the training ground, do a session with the lads and the team. More often than not, it's a lighter session because sometimes you can be feeling a little bit leggy from the game. Then do upper body and core on the Monday, do some stretching and yoga. That's just pretty much a standard for me now, with some foam rolling every day, just to make sure that my muscles are loose and I don't pick up any niggles from fatigue in my muscles. Tuesday, biggest day of the week, hard training session, probably cover around 7 to 8K with a lot of high speed running with the team. Do my own extra training afterwards on a Tuesday, which will be some technique work. Then in the afternoon, big heavy leg session, which will be a really grueling day, to be fair. Come back, recover, go back to the gym in the evening, do an upper body session. Wednesday, we're off again. So do my own technique stuff on a Wednesday. Some Wednesdays I like to do some agility training, technique work, followed by an upper body session again. Thursday, training with a team. We'll be focusing on the opposition on a Saturday, so it'll be a lot of tactical stuff. Do my own technique work after the session. It might be things like right foot practice, a bit of heading practice. In the afternoon, do a plyometric leg session. So that'll be loads of jumping. Friday, training with a team, very light, set pieces, etc. Don't want to fatigue ourselves before the game. Afterwards, get inside to the gym, power session. Nothing too strenuous because it's the day before a game, but you're just getting your body primed and ready for the game the following day. So just some jump squats with a barbell on my back, some dumbbell jumps, some broad jumps, lateral jumps, etc, etc. And then the focus after that in the evening will be on recovery, making sure that I'm giving myself the best chance to perform well the following day. So that is a typical training schedule if we don't have a game midweek. If we do have a Tuesday game, I'll do the leg session after the game on a Saturday instead of the Tuesday, because that game will be in the evening. Yeah, I feel like that's the best time to get in a heavy leg session. The rest of the week stays pretty much the same. And for you, Luke, my off-season schedule is very different to my schedule in the season. So as we break up from the season, we obviously get given approximately 7 to 8 weeks off. First 5 days this off season I used purely as rest, just to let my body recharge, regenerate. You need to just come away from it, so when you go back to it, you're able to really smash it, focus. You won't have any temptations such as, you know, cheat meals, going out with your mates, etc, etc. A big difference from the off season to in the season is the amount of leg sessions I will do during a week in the off season. So like I said, in the season schedule, when we play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, it's very hard to get more than 1 or 2 leg sessions in. So in the off season, really load up on the legs and give yourself a rolling start going into the season. So you're able to do, you can get to the point in the off season where you're able to do 3 or 4 heavy leg sessions in a week. Well, 4 may be a bit much, but you know, you maybe do 3 big leg sessions, 2 being hypertrophy, 1 being strength, and also a body weight session or a plyometric session to complement the other 3. And what this will do, if you're able to really condition your legs well going into pre-season and the actual season, you'll give yourself a rolling start and you won't be getting really domsy where your legs are aching for 4 or 5 days and you're having to miss training or going to training or games feeling leggy and you can't perform optimally because you've not conditioned properly in the off season. So that's a major difference between the off season and the in season. Apart from that, off season, 5 days off to start with. Slowly start introducing aerobic running, anaerobic running, and then fartlek training. As time goes on in the off season, then you just want to increase the intensity of your workouts. So for example, an anaerobic session that I do is 10 400 meters. I may do these 10 400 meters at the start of my off season in, let's say, 1 minute 20 seconds with 1 minute 20 seconds rest, 5 reps of that with a 5-minute break, and then do the back 5 in a similar time. Towards the back end of my off season, when I've improved my fitness levels, I might be doing them in 1 minute 10 times with no break after the first 5. So that's a way how you'd increase the intensity of a session. Include things you want to work on, technique drills. Massive opportunity in the off season to really improve your technique, work on things that you're not able to the actual season because you don't want to risk getting injured, overtraining. Make sure to remember that you're a football player. You're not an athlete, you're not a bodybuilder, you're not, I don't know, you're not a basketball player trying to just improve jump height. Yes, these are supplementary training methods, but first and foremost, you're a footballer and you need to play football in the off season. So make sure you get the ball out as much as you can. And similar principle with the running, as the off season goes on, get the ball out more and more. So by the time you go back training, you're ahead of everyone else. You've had thousands and thousands of more touches than your teammates and players in other teams, and that will give you a big head start going into the off season. So I think I've pretty much given you guys a good insight into what my off season's like through my off season videos, training out in Mykonos, etc. If you've not seen them, check them out. And also, when it comes to your guys' questions about what I do in the gym, I had a little idea that I could put together an 8-week gym schedule that I've done many times myself for you guys. All you'd have to do, if it's something that would be of interest to you, is get down in the comments below, comment yes, and if enough of you guys have said yes, I'll go out my way and I'll put this 8-week gym schedule together for you lot. Just let me know in the comments below if you want it. Make sure you check out the link in my description for the Facebook group. Check out the link for Whoop. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I love doing these videos. Thank you guys for all your support. Please continue to like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm trying to get to 10K. I'm on a mission to get to 10K subscribers and do the next giveaway. So I'll see you in the next video.